Tax season can have you swimming in paperwork, and you may find yourself wondering about all of that information. How long should you keep it in case of an audit? What do you really need to keep and what can you get rid of? And how should you store it? These are common questions to have, and since it can be very stressful to wonder whether your childcare business is audit-proof, it's best to have a plan and stay organised. First, it's a good idea to organise your documents so you're ready for an audit. Dedicate a physical space, for example a folder or file box, to store your receipts when you first get them. Sort your receipts into different expense categories. Use accounting software to record your receipts electronically. Many allow you to snap pictures of receipts. They're then linked to your expenses folder. Do a mock-up of a receipt if you haven't managed to get a physical copy. This will remind you of the expense. Review your receipts, invoices and records monthly to make sure everything is in order. It's also helpful to know that the IRS will accept electronic or paper receipts, scanned receipts, credit card statements, and digitised expense reports. To keep things simple, we're going to place all your information into one of 4 categories: things to keep forever, and then documents to keep for a minimum of 7 years, 3 years, and 1 year. Let's talk about each of these. Some things you'll want to keep indefinitely. No matter what season of life you're in or how much time has passed since the documents were issued, you will always want to have them on hand. These include documents such as birth and death certificates, adoption papers, your social security card, medical records and education records. This category also includes any documentation pertaining to ownership or leasing of property or stock, as well as tax returns. The IRS statute of limitations for auditing is for 3 years, so why do you need to keep some documents for 7 years? It's not an arbitrary number. IRS officials are permitted to go back as far as 7 years to perform an audit under specific circumstances, such as where an individual underreports his or her annual income by 25% or more. So there are some documents that you should keep for at least 7 years. Firstly, keep your tax returns for at least 7 years. Yes, we included them on the list of documents to keep forever because that's what we recommend, but officially you must keep your tax returns for a bare minimum of 7 years. Secondly, keep all supporting tax documentation for this amount of time too. This includes W-2 and 1099 forms, expense receipts, customer payments, payroll records, and lender interest statements. Next, there are documents that you only need to keep for 3 years. The list is very short. You can dispose of former supplier or customer contracts after you have kept them for at least 3 years. Lastly, there are documents that aren't important anymore after a year. After 1 year, you can dispose of W-9s for former contractors, W-4s for former employees, direct deposit information for former employees. Note that all of these items are for former contractors or employees. For current employees and contractors, you want to keep their documentation on file for the full duration of their employment. If you're going to keep your documents for any amount of time, we cannot overemphasize the importance of storing them correctly. This is not the time to be optimistic and assume nothing bad will ever happen. Store your important personal and business records in a safe place. Some people prefer paper storage while others use an electronic filing system. Either way is fine as long as you take precautions to protect the integrity of your documents. Hard copies of important documents should be filed in a secure place, like a filing cabinet or fireproof or waterproof home safe. Electronic copies of important documents should be stored in a password-protected digital file on a hard drive or secure cloud-based storage system. You should save multiple backup copies of digital files and consider keeping a paper copy of your most important documents just in case. Once your documents reach the time that they can be disposed of, you should dispose of them properly by shredding them. This protects you from identity theft in case they contain any personally identifiable information. We encourage you to take some time and make sure you have good systems in place to stay organised and handle all your paperwork in the correct way. When you've done this, you'll have the reassurance that you've audit-proofed your childcare business and you don't need to fear the day an audit might arrive. If you're in a situation where you're being audited, it's highly recommended that you engage with a certified accountant before handing your financials over to the auditor.